Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, in this topic we will discuss about agriculture. Agriculture is a process of production producing food, feed, fuel, fiber and other goods by the systematic raising of plants and animals. Agriculture on land is interaction between people and nature in which human energy is used to transfer natural products into goods for human consumption and use. So from these two definitions you can easily understand about it that agriculture is the process of production and raising plant and animals by a systematic method. So currently we use different technology in agriculture and we want to use a small piece of land and get a lot of production from it. So agriculture on land is the interaction between people and nature. It means that the farmers, they practice and do their skills and they see the environment and according to the environment they produce their crops, and when they use their energy they transfer their energy into natural products. Suppose if you cultivate wheat in the land, so after 6 months in the peak season you get a lot of production in the shape of wheat production. So the next topic is sustainable agriculture. Sustainable agriculture means environmentally friendly method of farming that allow us the production of crops or livestock without damage to the form of ecosystem. Ecosystem means effects on soil, water supplies, biodiversity and other natural resources. So the third topic is biodiversity. The variety of life on our planet measured as the variety within species, between species and the variety of ecosystem. So there are a lot of variety in our planet, and you can say it the living creatures who live on this planet. So the variety of these living creatures are the species, and the different species live within this ecosystem. Now we will discuss about poverty. Poverty is multi-dimensional concept that seeks to measure level of deprivation encouraged by a person, household or community. Although most of the literature focuses on indicators of deprivation such as income, food, access to housing and so on, the choice of indicators to measure level of deprivation can often be random and hence may not reflect a full-scale measure of unmet basic needs in different social contexts. So this inconsistency leads to concepts such as poverty, social exclusion and vulnerability being used interchangeably in development discourse. So again the poverty is discussed that it is a multidimensional concept, so it can measure the deprivation mostly encountered by persons, household or community. Deprivation means in Urdu you can say it mehrumi. Mehrumi means if you have lack of resources and you are unable to purchase something in the market, So it is called deprivation, or your basic needs cannot be fulfilled, so this is called deprivation. So such as if you don't have income, and then you would not be able to, or a poor person, if the poor person has no income, so then the poor person would not be able to achieve food, or to access to housing, or to access to clothing, or to access to take their own decision for making their life standard better. So deprivation is actually the full scale of measurement of unmet basic needs in different social contexts as well. When someone is poor and society no one have good relationships with them due to their income and other non-purchasing powers. So while allowing for variation indicators of unmet basic needs, poverty is generally considered to be a measure of deprivation of the basic needs that a person, household, or community requires to have a basic standard of life, of living. So deprivation can be measured either in terms of lack of resources, suppose income, assets, capabilities, skills, knowledge and technology, or both. As I talked in my previous classes that Amartya Sen also told us that if you want to remove poverty and bring the life standard and improvement in the life standard of the community, you must have to provide them basic skills and knowledge and technologies. So these are called the capabilities. These capabilities should be improved in order to earn by themselves, for every person or every human should earn by themselves as well. So poverty is a multidimensional concept, and it can be removed through knowledge, skills and technology, and the income should be raised, and assets can play an important role in someone's life standard and its improvement. So there are 8 key points of key facts and figures on poverty. Number 1 is close to 900 people around the world live in severe poverty based on an income poverty line of 1.90 a day in 2015. So it means that almost 1 billion people live on planet with poverty, and their income is less than $1 a day. So poverty level remain high globally and are particularly concentrated in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. So South Asia and sub-Saharan Africa has high level of poverty. So number 3, global poverty is concentrated in lower middle income countries and countries dependent on natural resources, as well as in fragile and conflict affected states. So poverty comes with those areas where there is conflict, and when conflict comes and there is dispute between the 2 nations within that area, suppose we have Kashmir, so then the dispute and the conflict make a lot of problem. If you have some of the examples of Iraq, Iran, the same you have Syria, so you will find where there was conflict for the last few years. Also in Afghanistan, you have seen from the last 4 decades there were a lot of conflict in these areas, and due to which what happened, that the poverty, the rise, and the people became more poor, and they were unable to improve their purchasing power. So looking beyond the income, number 4 is looking beyond the income measure. 1.6 billion people are considered poor across measures of access to social services and security, with the largest global share of poor people being in South Asia and highest intensity in Sub-Saharan African. So 1.6 billion people are considered to be poor across measure of access to social service and security. So here again the largest global share of the poor people is in South Asia, and we don't have the access toward social services and security because we have a lot of problem. Again in South Asia and Sub-Saharan African countries have the social security and social services deficiencies. So number 5 is, among other factors, demographic growth is a major challenge to poverty reduction in Sub-Saharan African countries. So demographic growth means the population is increasing, the literacy level is not improving, the schooling attainment is one of the main problem, the income level of the people is declining, and when the population is rising, the resources are declining as well. So among other factors means, so demographic growth is a major challenge to poverty reduction in Sub-Saharan and especially in African countries. As I told you, demographics are the population, the health measurement, the educational measurement, the income measurement, all of these things are included in it. So then gender equality is also important in it, in these demographic growths. So number 6 is, based on meeting the 2030 target of eradicating poverty is contingent on addressing income distributional patterns as well as incorporating environmental factors and economic policies. So 2030 targets, I told you that the Sustainable Development Goals 2030 are mainly focused on eradicating poverty, on removing poverty from the all over the world, such as in South Asia and in Sub-Saharan African countries as well. And also it is working on the income pattern of the people in order to make economic justice in the societies, and incorporating environmental factors and economic policies as well. So environmental factor is also one of the main economic policy in these regions as well. So number 7 is, climate change could account for close to 10.1 million more poor people by the middle of the century. So because due to climate change, some of the farmers, they grow their crop and the environment is changing. There is a lot of rain sometimes there is a lot of precipitation mean a lot of rain. So when a lot of rain comes, so the crops are damaged. When the crops are damaged, so the farmers, they become poor. And when there are droughts in the land, the dry and semi-arid agricultural lands are also facing the same problem when there is no precipitation, and the farmer, they cultivate their land but they are unable to get more production. Number 8 is, even if the world succeeds in reaching its targets of 3% poverty by 2030, deep pockets of poverty will still remain around parts of the world. Therefore, Sustainable Development Goal 1 will not be met. As I told you that zero hunger is the goal 1, and this goal, we have the target up to 2030 that we will eradicate 3% of the poverty from the world, but it would not be possible to remove the poverty from the world, because due to pandemic and the coronavirus economic problems, it will increase more. Thank you.